From the real deal Holyfield to the genuine article, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Jason Burns.
And I'm Danny Nucci, and this is the What About podcast.
In this episode with Monique Powell, the lead singer of Save Ferris, we talk quite a bit about Morocco. And I know you've been to Morocco. Can you share with our listeners what Morocco is like and when you visited? And just give us
depends on where you go. I mean, Marrakesh is landlocked, but friggin' gorgeous and orange. Casablanca is basically a coastal city, and it still maintains some of the old romance from the film and the 50s, but it's a city. And then I went to Fez, which is also inland, a little bit north from Casablanca, and it's just old, man. You feel like you go back 3,000 years.
Do you still have family there?
Yeah. Still have family there. But yeah, it was just so weird that, because it was a small community. So for us to discuss it, it was kind of like, oh my God, you too? And we'd never met. But again, like I say about 18 times, I'm old.
Take traffic out of the equation. From where you grew up in the Valley to Orange County, it's like a 25, 30-minute ride. Is that right?
Yeah, that's like from where you live to Boston is like a 25, 30-minute ride. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
From Mansfield to Boston at 3 a.m. in the morning, how long does it take?
25 minutes.
And at 8 o'clock in the morning, how long does it take?
2 hours.
It's the same idea.
But I'm just saying, your two Moroccan circles, it seems at this point, never cross. But and
literally it's less than Orange County. It was, we were talking about it was right over the hill, what they call here in California the Hill, which is the San Fernando Valley and Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, Hollywood. And it's just different communities, but it's funny. It was really kind of a trip. It was a little bit of a discovery. Was it weird to see it live? Like we're looking at each other like, are you my long lost cousin?
Yeah, I was just going to leave. I was going to thank you and good night and just walk out. You guys were going to be able to talk family.
No, I'm glad. Listen, I'm happy we got to talk about it. I love the new single. I can't wait for more. Fun. And it's just, I love this kind of music. It's just a hoot. I mean, try to listen to this and stay depressed. Good luck.
You can't. And even when they're singing about things that are dark and dreary, you don't reflect on it right away because you're so upbeat and happy.
No, and it's more like it's like getting together with your friends and watching a horror film. There's something fun and exciting about it. But she's terrific. I love talking to her. So without further ado, lead singer of Save Ferris, Monique Powell. Monique, where are you? What part of the world?
I'm in Orange County, just south of Los Angeles.
Whoa, you're like in the home country. You're like where it all began. You're in the homestead.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah.
Had you left? Were you gone for a while?
I had. Yeah. I'm originally from Los Angeles, but I did some growing up in Orange County, and then moved back to LA in 98, and then moved to England for a little while, and then moved back to Orange County about a year ago.
When you said you did some growing up in Orange County, do you mean physically or emotionally?
I guess both.
Okay.
We moved to Orange County when I was about 4, and then I went to school here. And then as soon as I could get out of here, I left and I moved to LA. It's where most of my family lives, but my parents stayed in Orange County. But my sister and the rest of I have a very large Moroccan family on my mom's side that all live in Los Angeles. I grew up very close to.
I have a very large Moroccan family on my mom's side.
Do you seriously?
100%. 100%.
Seriously?
100%.
Where in Morocco?
They're from Casablanca.
That's where my family's from.
Oh my God!
But are we related? Are we like cousins? That would be friggin' hysterical. Très bien, je comprends tout. J'ai l'accent pied noir. I'm not kidding. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Look at Jason's being blown away right now. No, c'est vrai.
Ouais. Well, and you both are lived in, grew up in LA. I mean, it probably isn't. It's possible. It's possible.
Maybe this is not a question to ask
on the podcast. We'll come back. We can come back to it.
Yeah, because I would love to know your
mom's name?
Your mother's side.
Yeah,
your mother's maiden name.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
We'll compare.
Yeah, I'm sure we're related. There's like 19 of us.
Knew each other
as kids, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, is your family from Los Angeles?
Well, yeah, we were there most of my high school years, but I'm a bit older than you.
I'm almost positive our families know each other.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure
all the Moroccans in LA.
They all know, yeah, of course they do. Look at Jason's like, all right, are you done with your Moroccan thing? Can we talk about Save Ferris for a minute? Can we talk about the new record?
You do look very much alike.
Are you taking a break from playing out? Are you guys playing out and you're taking a break?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, a very short break. I leave tomorrow.
Oh, well, that's it. A break nonetheless. I mean, when you're touring, any kind of break is kind of great. It's a big break. Yeah. 3 days is a big break. You know what I mean? Like,
has this been... Is this your first time going out and doing all of these cities in a while, or did you do it with the EP the last time around?
So we're just doing mostly the Northeast on this next one. We just got back from doing like a Midwest. The Midwest we hadn't been to in a while, and that was freaky and amazing. We never did well. We've never done well in the Midwest, so it was surprisingly successful.
I believe I saw Save Ferris in 97, 98 with Goldfinger. Did you tour with Goldfinger around that time?
Absolutely. Okay. I think I have the ticket right here.
Oh, nice. Lupo's Heartbreak Hotel?
What? That's amazing.
Were the Aquabats? Was it with the Aquabats?
Oh, yes.
97?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Travis Barker on drums.
Nice. Very nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Travis Barker was crazy. Goldfinger's drummer?
He was the Aquabats drummer on that tour.
Oh, he's the Aquabats drummer.
Here's the ticket. Someone gave me this ticket. I don't know who gave it to me, but they gave it to me in this like little plastic thing.
Like a little baseball card thing.
Yeah, like a little baseball
card. Like Jason
card.
has. He's got like 1,000 of them.
Amazing.
So Mo, what was the biggest surprise going back out on the road and going to a place like the Midwest that you said you never did well before? I mean, you must have had faces coming back going, excited to see the band again.
I mean, the biggest surprise was that anybody showed up. That was the biggest. That was the biggest. I was like, oh.
That's not true. That's horseshit.
No, that's not horseshit.
That's not true.
That's not horseshit. I swear to God. Like, I don't believe we ever got any radio play out there. I don't know how anyone even knew who we were. And the fact that people showed up and the venues looked full and the fact that we even sold out any venues in any of those cities, I was totally amazed. And we will be going back and more people will be showing up next time because the shows were very successful in my opinion. And
so back when that third wave of ska hit, did you find that just ska in general didn't hit out there the same as it did on the coast?
Wait, what are you calling the third wave?
The 90s.
Hold on a second. Can we define the waves?
Just the third wave. What do we call it? Third wave.
Yeah, it's the 90s ska 90s. Revival.
Third wave, yeah.
So Danny was in LA cruising around on Vespas and into the second wave of ska. That was like his big. He would love.
Oh yeah.
Who were the bands that you listened to, Danny, back then?
Oh, the classics: Specials, Madness, Selector, English Beat, the whole thing, man. That was my jam. And the LA bands that were coming out, we had the Untouchables and Fishbone, and they were playing like straight up ska music. It was great. It was the best.
And that was because my sister's older than me, and that was what I was listening to as well on KROQ when KROQ is a brand new radio station.
But you were also singing opera, right?
Is that where the ska influence came, or was it? Hold on with the opera. Let me just get to the ska first, then we're gonna get to the opera. We're gonna have time for all of it. Don't you worry.
The ska actually preceded the opera. The ska came before the opera. So
there you go. The ska preceded. So then the timing is perfect. All right. Fantastic.
Yeah. We're good.
So did your sisters influence you by putting on those records, or like were you listening to the Specials and the English Beat and Madness and all that stuff? Or like how did it seep in?
No, totally. Like she totally influenced me 100%. With her music influence. And the radio station, the Los Angeles radio station out here that was like relatively new and playing all of these new like British bands, and like you said, the Selector and the Specials and Madness and the Clash and all of that. And then she went new romantic. Then she went new ro, and it was like, okay, we're going in a new direction now.
Everyone did.
You should see her prom pictures.
Everyone did, sure.
I grew up on the East Coast, and I was listening to bands like the Agents and the Toasters. When you started to tour, what was it?
Yeah.
Was it a different vibe? Was there an East Coast, West Coast thing like there was with hip hop?
I don't think so. I mean, you guys had like all that moon ska record stuff, and that kind of ska was different. It had more of a classic influence to it, whereas we were just like, let's be crazy and have fun and be stupid.
I feel like the horns weren't used as much in the East Coast bands either. Bands like Bim Scala Bim, they use their horns differently, the horn section, than the West Coast bands.
Yeah, more like keys and organ, I think, in a lot of those bands. But yeah, more classic sound.
When you start getting the horn section, you start adding musicians.
Yeah, exactly.
then you got too many people. You got to get the horns. It just sounds really so good, though. It's my favorite. It really is.
It gets really expensive.
Yeah, you got And what do you guys have now? You still have the three? Do you have a bone, tenor, and trumpet? Is that still what you guys do?
So we just have we have a trumpet and a trombone, and that's what we're touring with. And so we're just 6 of us.
Oh, that's great.
What was your goal in terms of music, Mo? Because I know you started singing opera, but you were listening to pop. Like, was somebody influencing the opera like your sister was influencing the ska?
Also, yes, definitely. And, initially it wasn't my jam to be an opera singer, wasn't my thing. Initially I wanted to be a ballerina, and then I had this growth spurt.
Do you know how often we get that? It's just incredible how many times we have gotten that. It's just incredible. But like genuinely, really a ballerina, not like, oh, it's a nice idea and I'm 7. I mean,
really?
Like you're a teenager and you're going, this is the direction I want to go. No, it's incredible.
Yeah, I was a dancer for 8 years, and I was invested from the age of 2 to the age of 10. I was totally invested, and I was on point shoes, and every little girl that is a ballet dancer dreams of going on point. And I was so tall, and I wasn't a little girl, and I kept spraining my ankles. And finally my ballet teacher, I was on crutches all the time, and my ballet teacher was like, you cannot be on point anymore, girl.
What a visual.
Girl, you just cannot be on point anymore. And I was like, well, I don't want to do ballet. Screw you. I'm going to be a singer. So my dad had a beautiful voice, and he would always sing to us privately.
Did you pursue opera?
So my parents put me in voice lessons, and this voice teacher, I was like, I want to be a pop singer. And then one day she said, do you want to hear what I do? And she gave me her little demo tape, and it was all these arias, these opera songs. And I loved her, and I loved what I heard. And I was like, I want to do that. So then I started studying opera, and that became a very serious study for me. And I did that for a number of years. And while I was studying opera in college, that's how, all my friends, I went to art school. I went to arts high school and, studied musical theater because they didn't have an opera department. But all my friends in high school, I went to high school.
In Orange County or in LA?
In Orange County. I went to high school with Real Big Fish, and all my friends were in ska bands. And when I was in college, all my friends were getting into ska bands.
Especially at that time in Orange County. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in that time in Orange County, I mean, it was that punk ska thing was blowing up at that time.
Yeah, I was right in the middle of it. And I was in college. I was going to college at Cal State Fullerton in Orange County, so I was right in the center of it. And all of my friends were in ska bands. And eventually they were like, why don't you sing in a band? And I was like, that could be fun, because opera was just it was becoming too stiff for me, I always loved punk, and I always listened to punk because of my sister. I always listened to ska, and so so I just never fit into that scene, especially in college. In college, I was too young. Everybody else in my department in college was older than me, and I didn't dress right. I didn't fit in. I didn't look right. I didn't act right. I just wasn't. It was too stiff. And so and I was going to shows. I was going to a lot of punk shows and ska shows. And so I was like, oh, I'll just be in a band.
And being a dormant performer, where you're like, I think I want to get up on stage. I think I want to be on that side.
Yeah,
of the
well,
mic.
yeah. I mean, like I had been performing already for a number of years, but just not in bands, you know?
Oh, you had been?
Yeah. I mean, I was on stage for...
You mean as an opera singer?
Yeah, and musical theater and all of that, and light opera.
And musical theater?
Yeah.
Right.
So I did all that
stuff. So you're already going, oh, I want to be on that side of the stage.
Yeah, so I'd already been on that side for, you know, a long time, but... and I, like I said, I was already going to shows for years, you know, so I was already part of the scene, but like being in a band was not something that I had seriously thought about until, you know, I was in college and all my friends were like, you should get in a band. And I was like, you know what, I might get in a band because I really, really love ska. So I got into an all-girl ska band that was like a traditional first wave sounding ska band, very traditional. And then from there, I had some friends who had a band that was ska adjacent, I like to call it. It wasn't necessarily a ska band, but it was more of like an experimental sort of Zappa influenced band that played with all the ska bands because we were all friends with everybody.
I was going to say they could be on the same bill.
Yeah, we were on the same bill. It was called Larry. The first band was called the Shanties. The second band was called Larry. And and from there, I got, then Save Ferris happened from there.
What did your sister think when you said, hey, thanks for turning me on to ska. I'm going to start playing in ska band.
Hold on. Amendment to that question. Like what did she say when she actually saw a show where you guys were like, people went to see you guys and were singing the songs and you were on stage and you were it? What was her reaction to that?
She was stoked. She was like, this is super cool. But she's always been my biggest cheerleader, you know? The hard part was like, and my sister actually financed our first record.
Nice.
So she was sort of like our record label, which was
so she's kind of,
cool.
she's a benefactor, your sister.
But the hard part was convincing my parents, and I basically waited till we recorded the EP and sort of sat my parents down and went, I want you to hear this.
What did your mom say? C'est quoi ça? Qu'est-ce que tu fais? C'est quoi ça? Qu'est-ce que je fais maintenant?
Well,
cette musique? C'est quoi?
You know, when mom starts speaking Arabic, that's when you know that you're in trouble, you know?
Oh, that's when it's a problem. Yeah. Yeah. That's when you have to worry.
That's when you worry, is when mom starts speaking Arabic. So
yeah,
when she speaks French, that's a good thing. Oh, so c'est pas vrai, you know? But so they heard it.
That's awesome.
They were like, are you sure you don't want to do opera? Because they invested so much in lessons, and they had invested so much in opera, and, you know, invested so much in this idea that, you know, I was going to be this opera singer. And I was like, they were like, are you serious about this? I was like, yeah, I'm serious about this. I'm really serious about this. And I said, okay.
And so how much time passed between the EP and the band breaking nationally? Because it wasn't that long a time, right? In terms of...
No, it was very quick. It was like very quick. I mean, within a year.
They must have felt relieved to see the success come so quickly, especially knowing that bands can, you know, toil away for years and years and years trying to find success.
No, yeah, they were very relieved, to say the least. They were relieved. But, you know, also...
freaked out, right? Their daughter's going off on the road with 6 other dudes.
I mean, I don't know if they were freaked out about that, because the guys were very sweet and very, you know, just very sweet boys. But, you know, I spent like 6 years on the road. Like, I didn't really have a holiday at home for like 6 years. I was estranged from everybody, my friends, my family.
I was working at a record store then, Monique, in Massachusetts, and we couldn't keep the record on the shelf then. You know, what was that period like for you, especially being so young and having to sort of taste success on a level that really somebody can't imagine?
It was, I mean, obviously it was really cool. We were very young, and, you know, there was a lot of like, this is amazing. I don't know what to do with this. who do I talk to help me get through this in a way that's like safe and smart, and there was no one. So we just sort of went with it, you know.
You asked the question and there was no answer.
There was
basically
no one.
What you're saying.
Anyone, no, nobody.
Hello.
Did you find people you could lean on and ask questions in the music industry itself, like bands who had been around?
Not really. I mean,
right into the deep end.
Yeah, right into the deep end. At one point, I almost married someone in a band that had some success, and that was nice. And I received some good advice from my band, and that was helpful.
Because they were a couple of canoes ahead of you in terms of band success?
Yeah, they were like 15 years ahead of us and very successful.
Okay, so like 112 canoes ahead of you. Sure, I got you.
Yeah. And so that was nice, but that was already kind of, you know, after we'd already signed the 200-page contract with Sony, with Epic, you know, so it was too late at that point.
Everybody always tells you, like, on your wedding day, you have to take a minute, breathe, and enjoy it and live in the moment. Is it the same kind of thing with success like that because it's really sort of hard to even live in the moment when it's all, because you're bouncing around from city to city. They're telling you to do this and do that.
But we're also asking, after the fact. I mean, just based on my own experience, it's so different when you're asking after the fact and you've recognized success and failure for the imposters that they are. It's just it's different looking back at it and going, hey, so what was that like? The reason I bring that up is because obviously there was a gap in terms of you doing music as frequently and as immersively as you had. And so now that you've got the new single out and you guys have these new set of shows, I mean, the experience of appreciating being able to do this and being able to do this the way that you'd like has got to be just incredible, rather than being part of, you're in a whirlwind that you're trying to figure out where the solid ground is. I'm going to stop talking and let you respond. I promise.
No, that was amazing. Thank you. Yeah, back then we couldn't do it the way we wanted to, but we had no idea how we wanted to do it, really, because we had no idea what we were doing. The good thing is that we had a really good time. We had a lot of fun. We really, really did. We had a lot of fun together, and we had a lot of laughs. I mean, I don't know if a day went by where I didn't laugh. Even on the worst days, there was something that they made me laugh about. These guys made me laugh about something. And now, yeah, it's like, I make better choices. It's harder. I feel a lot more responsibility. I have a lot more responsibility for more people that I'm responsible for. But there's a greater sense of like accomplishment, I think, now,
Mm-hmm.
So, and also I get to do things in a way that's more compassionate and caring for my band and for myself. I'm careful. I get to be more careful.
What about authenticity? The first thing I think I want to ask you is, and it's the most drab question there is, but it's important. What is authenticity to you?
So to me, authenticity is having a connection with your inner self, and an understanding with your inner self that you're okay, and I think that when you have that relationship with yourself, your inner self, your little child inside of you, when you have that little relationship with your little inner self, that it doesn't really matter what other people think,
When did you realize that definition of authenticity? How long did it take you?
It took me a very long time. It took a lot of struggle and hardship for me to get there. You know?
Yeah, life keeps coming, don't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was always the sensitive child in the
Hence
family.
the artist.
Yeah. And, you know, I was the one who cried at the drop of a hat, and everybody was like, oh, she's the sensitive one, you know, you need to protect her feelings all the time. And it was like, you know, and I would always say, it would be like, why am I like this? I really didn't like being so sensitive. It really bothered me. I really wanted to just be someone with more grit and like more like, because this business was eating me alive, you know?
Creatively, Mo, did you find yourself agreeing to things that didn't agree with who your inner self was, like whether it was musically, creatively, or just going along with the flow just because it was easier than standing up for what you believed in?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. Absolutely, all the time. I had no inner strength, and I was so afraid of everybody and everybody's opinion of me, and I just wanted everybody to like me, and I wanted everybody to get along. And also, you know, I didn't have, listen, I hate to bring gender into this, but you know, I was the only female, and I really just
That's authentically what it is.
Not only in the band, Monique, but also in the scene. There weren't a lot of females in the scene.
Mm-hmm. In the industry. I just wanted to be taken seriously, and I wanted to be liked. I recognized that I was different, and that, you know, no matter who I was dealing with, they saw me as something different than them, and they treated me differently, regardless of whether or not they knew they were doing that. They did. So, you know, that was also difficult for me.
So you probably had to put on this facade of, hey, I'm just one of the guys, treat me the same.
Absolutely. And I really denied. So as soon as I got off stage, it was like, you know, I really denied myself my femininity, and I denied myself my womanhood, and I denied myself, you know, my true authentic self, because I just wanted to be liked, you know, and taken seriously, and I just wanted everybody to be happy all the time, and you know, I really lost a piece of my true self in that.
Have you rediscovered it now?
Of course, listen to her. Of course she has.
But I mean, on stage, when you step off the stage now, are you able to maintain your femininity and be who you want to be?
I think so. I think so. But I also think, you know, it isn't purely because it's not purely because of me. Times have changed, and now I'm surrounded by a lot more women in my industry, a lot more. And like, listen, the generations after me are full of self-realized women that are like lifting other women up, that are raising us up. I mean,
can you imagine having started your band now? What a different experience it would be. I mean, just,
you have no idea. I have the chills.
Incredible. I mean, it's just
chills.
Incredible. I mean, it's one of the few things that I personally just think has worked in society. There's certain things that have worked, and this is one of them where
it's so beautiful.
Everybody is given.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's great. No, I 100% agree. It's terrific, especially when you juxtapose it with what it used to be like. It's just like, whoa.
They used to pin us
it's
against
like smoking.
Each other.
Yeah, smoking's fine. Yeah, it's fine to smoke, no problem. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. I mean, I know radio DJs, more than one, that said to me, you know, we weren't allowed to play one woman after another woman on the radio. Like, shows weren't allowed to book women opening for other women. I don't understand why. I don't think it was a conscious decision to, like, you know, in the press, pin us against each other and keep us separate and all of this stuff. I don't think it was, you know, but it was just this weird dynamic in those days where, you know, we were not permitted to, like, be together, to work together, to, support each other in the way that we do now. Like, I am just like so in love with these women that I work with now, and they're younger than me by years, and they're stronger than me, and they're more capable than me, and they're more wise, and I'm just like, oh my God, I wish I was born like 10 years later. I would be a completely different person.
Well, it's a little different when you haven't grown up with fucking, bullets going by your ear. You're a little more flinchy, you know what I mean? Like,
you're so right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you've grown up and you're sort of nurtured and your voice is valued, it's a little different. There's a journey to get to the middle, to kind of like sort of ground zero and go, okay, and then I can move forward from here. It's just, it's just life's fucking.
You're so right.
Travels,
You're
I guess.
So right.
I mean, it's just the way it is. But and also the other part is they haven't had that find that kind of resilience that you have. And again, I'm not, but there's something about you cannot find the kind of resilience that you have without going through. There's no getting around.
There's like the old insecurities that I fight all the time. They're like these learned insecurities that I'm constantly overcoming, and with these young girls, they don't have those learned insecurities, and it's really beautiful.
No, they don't have
how
them.
Free they are.
Can I ask you about those learned insecurities, Mo? Because I picture opera singing training to help put some insecurities in place because it seems very strict and regimented.
Yeah.
Did that put any pressure on you as a singer to sing and perform a certain way?
That's a good question. I wonder. Probably did.
Well, all I can think of is you're singing, you're on a 6-week tour singing these songs with the high energy. I can only imagine how helpful being an opera singer was to figure out, okay, I got to chill here and I got to deal with the voice here. And this is because, I mean, I can't imagine anybody that doesn't know how to take care of their voice to do that and then not burn it out.
It helps immensely. I mean, I'm so grateful for the training. I'm so grateful for the training. That's why I can do 11 shows in a row and sing the way I do, without in-ear monitors. Like, I don't even have in-ear monitors. Who does that?
Can you talk a little bit about what it's like in the scene and in music industry in general? Because it's very important to the punk ska scene, just that idea of authenticity in a performer and who you are. Did that help shape being in this scene, shape your idea of authenticity?
Yeah, I mean, I think audiences are very smart, and you really can't lie to them. They can read through you when it comes to art. So if you're bullshitting, they're probably not going to come back. There's got to be a certain aspect of belief in what you're doing. You have to believe in it, and you have to own it. And if it's not a part of you, they're just, audiences are not going to they're not going to be fooled.
Right.
They're not stupid. People are really smart. So there has to be a certain level of authenticity, and a huge level of authenticity when it comes to performing. That's just what I think, So for me, and, also, listen, when I first started doing this, I wasn't the same size or shape as other girls. And going back to my sister was like, you know what? Work with what you have. Use what you have. Be you. You be you. Be proud of you. Act as if, even if you feel insecure, act as if you're someone that really likes who you are. Because when you go up there, you're projecting this self to other young women. You need to give that to other people. So what happened was, when I would act as if, then I started to believe what I was acting as. I started to believe that I liked myself. I started liking myself, and so I really got to sell that to people. And so that became like my biggest sell. Like, like yourself, be yourself, and, don't be ashamed of yourself, and be true to who you are. And shame has no place in 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 my vocabulary. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it doesn't have to have a place in yours either.
When I saw the band with Aquabats, right? Was the Mo I saw on stage, was she playing a character, or by that point was she comfortable in who she was?
Both, right?
She was both. Yeah, and I still play this character on stage that's an extension of who I am. It's a person that I always wanted to be, but then I get to realize and become that person on stage. And she's sexy and vampy and strippy and fun, and says what she thinks and doesn't give a shit when anybody thinks. And that's like truly an extension of who I am. And I'm very lucky that I get to be that person.
But that's the authenticity part, is where, like, there are places in society where that shit's not really all that friggin' appropriate. Like, like school with your children's. Like, it's just not an appropriate place. But then you get to express that. It's just the way it is. And then, but you get to really express that side of you, the real side of you, authentically, again, for that compartmentalized moment. And there's a freedom in it that I think translates.
Freedom. That is the word. It's a lot of freedom up there. It is. There's a lot of it's really expressing a lot of freedom to people. Free to be you and me. I don't know. Like, just
no, it is. No, but it is. It's there's no constraints.
Yeah.
You're not constrained, and that's why people are at the shows, and that's why you do it. I mean, we do it is because it there's an aliveness that comes with having the opportunity to express a side of yourself that does not get to be expressed in your everyday life, so to speak. Unless you're, the Rolling Stones and your lifestyle is your life.
But I used to love going to ska shows because this was a community and I could be authentic around the other people who were like me, right?
Absolutely.
So that's the other beautiful thing about going to a concert, especially a smaller concert. You go to the Rolling Stones, it's all walks of life, but you go to a small club show where it's your people and it feels like you're in a community.
That's exactly it.
Especially with ska.
Totally. And what's happened is, it's really cool, is that, the 90s audience has grown up and they're still coming. And then now there's like a whole new demographic of young people that are coming because they're experiencing the scene and they want to experience the scene. So the demographic is so broad now. When I look out into an audience, I'm just like, who am I playing to? It's really awesome. So I don't have any choice but to be authentically me, because it's like, I'm not playing to anybody. I'm just like playing to the world. Like, hey, everybody, this is me. Let's have a good time. You be you, I'll be me. Let's have some fun.
It must be so cool when you're looking out there and you're singing the old songs. They've got to be re-energized in you when you see like audiences that haven't really been listening to them. So the old songs must come through in a different way just because you're doing it for the first time for them.
Well, I feel guilty sometimes playing the old songs because sometimes I feel like I'm too old to be playing like Under 21 and Spam, like, like I feel like I've got to move past those in my life. But people love those songs, so we still play them, and I make them fun for me and everyone else, and we have a good time. But yes, playing the old songs, people get wackadoo over them, like The World Is New and Come On Eileen. They go crazy and they love it. And so yes, that is always fun for me to see people just sort of like, you'll see them sort of like, my favorite thing is when, a guy shows up in a Cannibal Corpse shirt, right? Like, you made it. when a dude shows up to a Save Ferris show in a Cannibal Corpse shirt, right? Right. But he's the one guy, like, he's like the boyfriend who came with his girlfriend who loves Save Ferris, right? He's the one guy who's just sort of standing there the whole show, just watching. You know, he's enjoying, but he's not participating, and his girlfriend's totally into it, right? But then probably about 3/4 of the way in, he starts dancing a little. He just starts moving a little. And by the time you're on the last song, he's dancing. He's waving his hands. I'm like, wave your hands. And he's waving his hands in the air. And he's just like totally into it. And like, you just know at that point that you've done your job. You can go home and sleep easy that night, because the dude in the Cannibal Corpse shirt waved his hands in the air when you said wave your hands in the air. You know, like done, right? Done.
That's awesome. That's it. Yeah, that's it. So we do a listener question.
Okay.
So this one is from Kaye. And Kay asks, during that third wave of ska, who were some of your favorite lesser known bands that people should seek out and pay some attention to now?
Ooh. So Dance Hall Crashers, Hepcat, Skeletones. Those were really my favorites.
Have you heard me talk French before?
Oui. How'd I do?
Very good. No, just most people don't think it comes to like, they're just like, I can't believe that just came out of you. It doesn't seem like it.
No, I've heard you speak French before, but you speak multiple languages, yes?
Well, it's kind. I think that's being kind.
You can understand multiple languages. Is that?
I can understand multiple languages. Yeah, that's fair. But as far as speaking them, I mean, you know, I just feel like I have old timers. I can't remember.
So does your mom speak French? Like if she was?
Oh yeah.
If she were to yell at you, she would speak French.
Well, she would. Yeah, she's not gonna yell at me. But she was right. You know, when they have emotional upheavals, they start speaking Arabic.
Yeah. For my mom, it was like if my middle name came out, that's how I knew I was.
Well, I mean, that's pretty typical American, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's great to talk to. You could see when she was talking about her journey, you know, and the fact that she's still doing it, you know, and loves it and is on stage just fucking ripping it as the lead singer of a punk ska band is just so fucking cool, you know. It just really is.
The new song's great. The video's fun.
Yeah, and go see them. I wish they would come in here. They're not playing here. So just like the other shows that people have come through, you go see them and you let me know how it is, JB.
I'm sure with her being a stone throws away that before you know it, Save Ferris
maybe they'll do like a local Orange County show. I'll go see that.
You'll get the record release show. That's what you'll get.
I hope so. That'd be great. You know, because it's really what about me? What about the pot? It's really what about me? That's really what it is. All right. Thank you for listening.
Music by Denny Nucci. Produced and edited by the same two people you heard hosting this show because they have no friends.